art investigator, I'd seemingly been a pawn to move and manipulate, and provide him with insider glimpses into his case. If it were not for me, our private investigation would have otherwise remained secured away on Huntley Pierre's database. The company I worked for, and the firm that had tasked me with tracking him down. I wallowed in guilt that so far I'd done nothing. Until today. I'd needed time to analyse the evidence to prove Wilder was our man. Such an accusation could devastate a reputation. There was no room for error or even doubt. It was impossible to deny the raw truth I'd personally witnessed at his home in Oxfordshire, having stood right there in that cold vault and viewed those stolen paintings. My uncanny ability to spot a fake had proven a curse, as I'd known I was viewing an authentic Rembrandt and a Monet. Along with the others I'd viewed, it had added up to irrefutable evidence. I'd left his home with nothing to corroborate my story. Accusing one of Huntley Pierre's most exclusive clients would see my thin thread of credibility gone, along with my dream job. My future hinged on doing the right thing, and doing it well. Yes, Tobias had stolen those paintings to return them to their rightful owners. Having tracked their provenance, I knew these privately owned collections had been robbed before by some faceless thieves for personal profit. Still, sooner than later Tobias was going to get caught. This beautiful, brilliant man who had shown me how to love deserved so much more than the consequences of his heroic misadventures. During our last agonizing phone call, a few weeks ago while I was still in London, I'd begged him to give up this life, and in typical Tobias fashion he'd teased me with how to find him, giving a clue that only an art lover like me could decipher. He described how alike I was to Madame Duchesne Fournay, though he'd not spoken her name then. He'd merely mentioned that upon unveiling the painting in the late 18th century, she'd brought Paris to a standstill. He'd compared what Madame Duchesne Fournay had done to France to what I'd done to him. Brought Tobias to his knees. How much I wanted to believe he loved me. I needed to know what we'd had was real. There was no place for weakness, no time for delusion. In any other circumstance, I would have refused to rush along. Simply couldn't imagine not paying any attention to the other paintings like the last frame, La Promenade, by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. Glimpsing back at the painting, I felt a wave of melancholy at that 1870 oil on canvas, conveying a dashing gentleman with his hand held out to assist his lover up the grassy bank, the flirtatious turn of her head hinting this was a new and thrilling love. I wanted to go back in time and warn her away from him. Hurrying onward, I flew around the corner and arrived in the vast showroom displaying a series of masterpieces. My heels echoed on white marble as they carried me to the centre of the large space, where I would find her, realising that part of her allure was Tobias's teasing description of her influence. Turning, I faced the long stretch of opulent tiles stretching beyond, and raised my gaze to look at her, the acclaimed Madame Paul Duchesne Fournay. Gasping in awe when I saw her, Madame Duchesne Fournay was more wondrous than I'd ever imagined, her extraordinary presence emanating out of the frame and leaving me spellbound. The way her long golden frame hung low on the wall made her appear to be standing right at the end of the gallery, waiting for me. Taking in her natural beauty, those elegant angles of her face, a striking porcelain complexion and pronounced jawline, her refined nose. Most stunning of all was her chestnut gaze that revealed a sharp intelligence and sparked a sense of consciousness. The grandness of her full black gown and plush jacket reflected her status as the wife of a prominent French politician. As I closed the gap between us, it took all my will not to trace my fingertips along the exquisite canvas, the austere background enhancing her outline and creating realism, her appearance accentuated by the remarkable contrast expertly melding her profile. This was the unmistakable technique of sfumato, one of the 4 canonical painting modes.